Okay, and to start this off, you're gonna have to remove your stator. The reason I'm telling you you have to remove your stator is because they have 6 coil stators and 2 coil stators, and you need to see if yours is a 6 or 2 before you order your complete wire and harness kit. All right, what's up, guys? Today I'm gonna show you guys how to completely rewire Chinese ATV. This works for 50, 70, 110, 125cc. Four-wheelers, it's very simple. I know sometimes people look at electrical jobs and think it's going to be a little overwhelming, but I'm going to show you everything you need to do and everything you need to order. But you can actually order a complete wire and harness kit for like $25 to $40. I'll show you the difference between a $40 one and a $25 one also. Anyways, I'm actually going to flip this around so I can get this started. The first thing you need to do is take off the stator. Or the stator cover. Okay, so I'm going to put a little more attention on the four-wheeler right now. Anyways, the first thing you need to do is remove this stator cover. If yours is a 3-speed, you'll have this. It's for shifting gears. If it's not a 3-speed, then you don't have to worry about this part. You can just ignore this next like 10-12 seconds. But if you're removing this, literally just pull this off. Pull off the stand. It's actually like your little, almost like your foot placement pedal thing. It's literally just so your feet can rest on it. I don't really know the point in it, to be honest. But then you're going to have a screw down here that you're going to need to loosen. This thing actually works as a clamp onto a shaft. Anyways, unscrew that and this thing will slide right off. But if you don't have that, then you don't have to worry about this part. I'm going to unscrew that and then I'll start recording again. Okay, so I have this loosened and then this thing. This thing literally just slides out. Like I said, it's literally just a clamp. I don't know if you can see this that well. But it's literally just a clamp. It screws in, slides in one side, and then screws into the other. So this side's actually threaded. And then as you tighten this, it clamps down onto that shaft, which has threads on it also. Anyways, once you have that done, you have to remove all your stator cover bolts. There's one here, here, here. You're gonna have like 5 or 6 of them. Just keep track of where they go because they can be different lengths, and also keep track of where your ground goes. Anyways, I'm gonna remove all those bolts real quick and be right back. Okay, so I've loosened all the bolts. Next thing you're gonna want to do, pull your bolts out. Like I said, keep track of all your bolts because you're gonna need to know exactly what spot they went in. And you're gonna have a little bit of resistance. It's because it's magnetic, and that's what it's gonna look like on the inside. That's what it's gonna look like on the inside. But this cover is actually what you want to see. This is a 2-coil stator. This is a coil. This is a coil. The 6 coil stators will have literally like 6 different small ones going around this. But that's what you need to know before you order your complete wire and harness kit. And then just order one that is for your, or just like a 70 or 50, 70, 110 or 125cc four-wheeler. But anyways, that's all you need to know. And you can put this back until your harness comes in. Okay, anyways, once you get your wire harness in, you can go ahead and start removing all this. I'm gonna go through all that, but I'm gonna remove this stator cover and I'll be right back. Oh, by the way, the stator cover, it comes off by just these 2 bolts. Or I mean, this stator, it comes off the cover by just these 2 bolts. Typically, there would be a little clamp thing that holds this down. This one's missing it. But typically, you'd have to take this one off, take these 2 off, and pull this out. Anyways, I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Actually, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and remove this stator from the cover, and then I'll get right back with you guys. Okay, so I've loosened the bolts on the stator. So these 2 bolts literally just come out, and then this comes undone. And this little grommet sits in this little spot right here. Keeps anything from going inside there. Anyways, that's your stator cover. That's your stator. You're going to be replacing all this, so I guess, well, I'm going to be replacing it all, so I'm not worried about how it's hanging. Anyways, let's get to the next part. Next part's actually the wiring harness, and I'm going to explain what it does and how everything works. Okay, so the new wire and harness came in. I ordered, this one was $35, I think. but they have some as little as $25, and I'll show you the difference. But anyways, I already went through all this to make sure everything came in. I'm going to show you everything that came with it and what it's actually used for. This is your rectifier. It converts AC to DC. And it's going to look like that. This is your starter relay. It sends a signal to the starter to activate the starter. Pretty much it sends a signal to your starter to make it turn over, which turns the engine over, and if you know how a starter works, then you get it. And that's this. Spark plug. Just a regular spark plug. This is a switch that goes on your handlebars. It's pretty much your on-off switch. How to activate your starter and for your lights. They're made kind of cheap, but almost all Chinese replacement switches are all like this. This is your CDI box. Sends a signal through the coil for spark. Pretty much saying, hey, we need spark. And this actually little mount it's going to go on. This thing slides in there, and then there's a little clip on your four-wheeler that this mounts to. But that's your CDI box. This is your key. Pretty much turn the key, and that's what, when you push this button, that's what starts your that's your electric start. But you have to have the key turned in order to do that. Instead of just regular key switch. This is your coil. This actually hooks up to your spark plug. Coil, boot for your spark plug. And this is your stator. This is what I was actually telling you about. You know what? I actually just labeled this and I haven't even looked at it, so hopefully they sent the right stator. And it's a 2-coil stator, which it is. Then here's just a replacement stator. That's this little grommet. And that's your main wiring harness. Comes with an extra fuse. Pretty much the only difference between a $25 and a $35 wiring harness is this one comes with zip ties. It comes with the extra fuse, and your coil is actually, or your stator actually has a plug on it instead of being like one wire at a time like this. But it saves a little bit of time, so that's why I bought this one. And that's pretty much everything you have. I slipped the zip ties and the extra fuse in here. This is the brand I ordered. Auto Hands Automotive. But now to the main wiring harness. You're gonna be very surprised how easy this is. But you're pretty much just gonna want to lay all this out so you see everything you have in front of you. The way you tell your front from your back is your battery connections, which are these. Connect to your battery, and your fuse. That's pretty much gonna tell you that's the rear end of your wiring harness. And now I'm gonna go through all this and show you how it all connects. I'm gonna clean some of this stuff up though real quick. Okay, now that I cleaned up the table a bit, I went ahead and unwrapped everything also, moved all the trash, and we're just gonna connect everything on the table just so I can show you how it all works. I'm just gonna go straight down the line. This is the rectifier. That's gonna be in the back. Oh, by the way, everything pretty much only has one mating connector. So if you know this goes in the back, it's only gonna have one mating connector. This is it. They'll have the same color wires. If it has wires coming off one of these parts, it's gonna have those same color wires here, except for one component, and I'll show you in a minute. So that's your rectifier. Okay, I said I was gonna go straight down, but I'm gonna go through the way I was taught how to do it, the way I remember how to do it all. By the way, this is a 4-pin connector. It's going to have 4 pins on the male side. They connect to the female side. 4 male, female. That's your rectifier. Forgot to put that out there. CDI box, that's this, has 5 pins. It looks like a 6-pin, but it's only 5. That's going to be towards the front. And if you look at some of these, they look the same. But if you look at this, this one only has a 5-pin. This one has 6-pin. So 5-pin is going to go inside here. And that's towards the front, by the way. Okay, the next thing I'm going to plug in is the coil. This one hooks up to the spark plug, and this has a boot. This does not have a connector. And it's going to be a green wire and a black wire, and I know it goes towards the front. But just find your green and your black wire. Oh, this one's actually a little different. This one's going to be the green goes with the green. Makes sense, right? And then the black goes with the black and yellow. Oh, actually it is a black and yellow. Sorry, I looked at it wrong. I was looking at the wrong side. So black and yellow, and green with green. And that's in the front. And by the way, make sure those seat all the way in there. You'll actually feel them click. Because if not, your connection will not be as strong and stable. And then slide your little plastic boot back over it. And like I said, these can really only plug in one way. So keep that in mind. Okay, next is the ground and power wire. These are taped, but they're not very long, so if you cut them free, it gives you a little more room to work. So I'm just gonna cut that off, remove those wires. And you can either remove the tape or leave it on, but you don't really need it, so I'm just gonna remove it. Okay, and the power side is gonna go to your starter relay. It doesn't matter what side you put it on, it literally just sends a signal across the other one. So you can put it on either side. You might end up changing this after you start putting everything on the ATV. By the way, this is my second time filming this. The first time I filmed it, I actually filmed it on the ATV and it didn't turn out how I wanted. So I seen another video where some guy explains it all on a table, and I was like, oh, that's way easier than explaining it while it's on the ATV and trying to work around a bunch of stuff. So that's actually another reason why I'm doing it this way. And this ground, you can actually just leave this. You're gonna hook it up in a minute. And actually you're gonna hook it up when you put it onto the quad itself. This is actually gonna go onto the stator cover on one of those bolts. And oh yeah, something I didn't mention, the starter, there's gonna be a power wire ran from your starter that goes onto this half, and you tighten it onto this side. And this is actually gonna be the cover for it once you have it all together. Typically it doesn't fit very well, to be honest, so I just leave it off. And by typically, I mean this is my second time doing this, but once you understand, it's really easy. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna grab, or the next thing we're gonna hook up is the handlebar switch. That's your on and off switch, your light switch, your starter switch, or your electric start switch. But this is actually the only wire that does not match up, and I'm gonna show you why. Obviously this is gonna go in the front, so it's gonna go on this side. But look for a 6-pin connector. That's this one. All the colors match up. Dang, that was a little hard to get on. And the other one is a red and brown. Is a red and brown switch. And this one actually is a little different. So you have a red and yellow switch, and then a yellow, green, and black switch. And those are the only 2 female sides that can connect to this male side. And these are actually for lights. That's for a light, this is for a light. But we're not going to use those right now. But I'm going to show you. Okay, so you have a red and yellow, and then a black, green, and yellow. And I'm going to show you where this goes and what these actually do. Actually, I said I'm going to show you what they do, but I'm actually going to tell you what they do. Okay, I was actually just looking at the other wiring harness I did. That one's actually blue and brown, but this one's red and brown. Anyways, going back to this, the only thing they can mate up with that is a green and red and yellow, or a black, a black one and a green and yellow. But the black one and the green and yellow is for a foot brake. The red and yellow and the green and yellow are actually the ones you're going to need, and that's the one that's going to connect to this. Oh, by the way, the red and yellow and the green and yellow is if you have a handbrake. This is a red and brown. I know these are the only ones that don't match up. I don't know why. And then you also have your key. And I believe, oh yeah, and then your stator. We'll do that in a minute. But your key, you're going to have a 4-pin. And just pretty much look for the other 4-pin that matches it. Actually, there's only one it'll plug into. I don't know why I said that. But it's a 4-pin connector. Now you literally have everything connected besides your stator, and I'm going to do that right now. Let me go grab it. So I have my stator cover. I'm going to go ahead and connect, or put my new stator into the new stator cover. Remember, there's only 2 bolts. And I'm only going to hand tighten all this before I take it outside. So pretty much put this coil in, or this 2 coil stator in the same way that you took it out. I'm only going to hand tighten this till I get outside, and then I'll tighten it more. So if you see me just hand tightening it, that's why. By the way, this is so much easier to explain when it's off the bike, or off the quad. And this is going to go kind of towards the middle, but the part that it plugs into is actually coming out of the back. And that's this. And this is one of the only things that's different between a $25 wiring harness and a $35 wiring harness. But pretty much this just has its own plug. Saves you a little bit of time. And then this has its own little plug. Your green and white connects to your green. It's almost impossible to mess these wiring harnesses up. I don't know how people will literally wire these incorrectly, because they're really simple, other than that brake, the handbrake and the foot brake one. Okay, so now you have everything plugged in that you can plug in, everything that came with the kit. So as you can see, it's literally, oh wait, we forgot to plug this in. Green and yellow, or no, a red and yellow, and then a green and brown. But again, there's only, no, this one can actually be messed up. So here's your red and yellow and your green. So you literally just plug that in. Now everything's plugged in. It came with the kit. Like I said, it's very simple. Now that I explained it all through here, we're gonna take it and put it on the quad right now. Oh, maybe a couple things I should explain real quick. You're gonna have these 2 connectors. One's gonna be to your tail light. The other one's gonna be to your the kill switch. And then you're gonna have 2 more up front. If it has 4 pins, or if it has 4 pins, a blue, a white, a green, and a brown, that goes to a single headlight. If it has 2 of these that are just blue, white, and green, I believe, those actually go to and if there's 2 of those, it goes to 2 different headlights. And then your black and your yellows for your foot brake. But we're not going to be using this one. This one is not what I plan on using, but we're going to make it work. Oh yeah, and if you order the $25 wiring harness, all these you have to actually you have to put all these together separately with plugs like this. But you're going to have 2 extra, if you order the cheaper wiring harness, you're going to have 2 extra wires. They come from your stator. I think it's going to be a green and a black, I believe. Anyways, there's going to be 2 loose wires. You're going to just, literally just pull those out of one side. You're not even going to use those. All you need are these 5 wires. The red, the white, the blue and white, the black and red, and then your green and white. Your green connects to your ground. And then if you order the more expensive one, these just connect. If not, just marry all those same colors together. Same colors coming out of the main wiring harness. Okay, now that I explained everything on the table, you guys know what everything does and where it connects. I'm gonna get the camera on the stand outside, and I'm gonna move all this outside. The first thing I'm gonna do is tighten these nuts on the stator itself onto the stator cover. I'm not gonna show that, but you know I'm gonna do it now. Anyways, I'm gonna move everything outside, and we'll get going. Okay, so I think I've already stated this in this video, but I actually ordered a wire harness that I already put on here, but it ended up being too short, so I had to order one that was just a few inches longer. But I'm gonna go ahead and tell you the easiest way to do this is by removing all these plastics and removing the handlebars and pulling all these switches off. These grips and everything just slide off. This has a couple screws underneath, they pull off. These have a bolt that kind of clamp down on it. This is your throttle, that's your brake. But anyway, all that stuff just pulls right off. 4 bolts on top of this, take the handlebars off, and then you're gonna want to remove your gas tank. And I'm gonna go ahead and start doing that, and I'll get right back with you guys. Something I will tell you to do, as soon as you start this process, go ahead and take your battery out and put it on the charger, because if you get to the point that you're about to test fire it and your battery's dead, you're gonna be a little disappointed. Trust me. Okay, and then once you get to this point, it's actually fairly simple. Start cutting all the zip ties off and start removing the wire harness. Actually, something you should do before that is remove the gas tank, your air filter, so you have a little more room. The guy I bought this 4-wheeler from, I'm pretty sure he was a meth head. But anyways, be on the point. So that's actually the reason I'm even replacing this wiring harness, because the guy just did some sketchy stuff, and it's just a lot easier to replace a wiring harness. Like replace all the components, because it's really just very, very basic stuff. And it's a lot easier than trying to troubleshoot somebody else's mess. But go ahead and remove all this. If you have some gas in here, it's going to leak out, so make sure you have something to collect it all in so it doesn't just pour on the ground. Anyways, I'm going to remove the gas tank, and I'll be right back with you guys. A quick tip when you're removing this, your gas tank, if you unscrew the hose to the carburetor, if you're trying not to lose all your gas, you can actually just put a bolt or nut similar to a similar size to your hose that you're running to your carburetor. Just stick a bolt or a screw in that, and then tighten the clamp around that, and it'll keep all your gas from pouring out. So this probably still has half a tank. It's dripping a little bit, but actually I think that's residual. But I already put a screw into that. I'll show you real quick. That's actually the screw, and I just tighten the clamp around that screw. So now I don't have to worry about having to lose all this gas. Anyways, if you're this far, now just go ahead and start cutting all the zip ties off where the wiring harness is hooked up. And we'll go from there. Disassembly is the easy part, and assembling is probably the little bit harder part. By the way, your new wiring harness didn't come with a new cable or a new wire that runs from your starter to your starter relay. So make sure you hold on to this. Do not cut that off. Pretty sure I already got all the zip ties cut off, but there's something I wanted to show you real quick. You're gonna notice that a lot of these spots, like your rectifier, already has a spot where it goes. Your starter relay already has a spot where it goes. There's a little tab in there. I'm not sure if you can see it from this angle. Here, you know what? If you pull it off, you can see the little tab right there. That's actually the tab where my middle finger's pointing. Yeah. But that's actually where that slides onto, that little hole. That has a little spot. Goes in, then it zip ties to the frame. And yeah, a lot of this stuff already has a spot where it goes, so make sure you just put it back where you got it from. I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna remove all this, and then removing everything's the easy part. Getting it back together and starting is the hard part. So you know how I put it all together on the table, and I said I'm gonna bring it out here and put it all together on here. Everything's still all together. That's what I'm saying. These things are so easy to work on. I literally I taught myself everything about these just by Googling and watching YouTube videos. But that's everything that's on the table. And like I said earlier, I'm only replacing this because the guy before me just did some sketchy stuff, and like I just didn't want to mess with his wiring mess. And also, I'm replacing it for a second time because the wiring harness they sent me was a little bit shorter one, and I needed a little bit longer one. Anyways. All that stuff's out of the way, and like I said, keep the wire that goes to the starter. It goes to the starter and your starter relay, because your new kit doesn't come with that. Anyways, time to get started. I'm putting everything back together and onto the bike, or onto the quad. Okay, so this is everything that was on the table. It's still all connected. The old harness is right there. I'm not sure if you can see it in the camera, but I'll say it's out of the way. Here, actually, just to prove that it's the old harness. There's the old harness. Move that out of the way. This is the new harness. The very first thing I'm gonna do is disconnect the stator, and then I'm gonna install the stator back into its spot. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now, and I'll get right back with you guys. Okay, so I got the stator cover on. My ground is actually right here. I'm gonna leave that kind of loose. I'm literally just gonna, oh yeah, first, okay, so I got the stator cover back on. The stator's already installed, tight, everything's in there. So I grabbed the wire harness and just kind of draped it over just to keep everything from hanging loose. Then I reconnected the stator. That's these two, that's this 4-pin plug and then the ground. Or if you bought the cheaper wiring harness, it's just going to be the same colors, marrying into the same colors, but this way it saves a little time. But anyways, my ground, I'm actually going to put into this one and just kind of hand tighten it. So that's tight, but it's not super tight, but it's just so I have a good ground. So before we actually start this, or before we get everything in place, we're gonna make sure we have spark and make sure it fires up. It's a lot easier to troubleshoot it like this than it would be when everything's all together. So go ahead and grab your spark plug boot, put your spark plug, your new plug into it. I'm gonna show you how to check for spark in just a minute. Oh yeah, and then grab your starter wire and hook that up to the other half of your starter relay. It's 10mm bolt or nut, but it's a lot easier to make sure you have spark this way and make sure you're firing up than messing with it when it's all together and all on the bike or all on the quad. Okay, so now we're gonna just make sure it's turning over, make sure you're getting power. So we're gonna get the battery and we're gonna plug it in to your negative and your positive side, which is these two. And again, that's why I told you to go ahead and throw this on the battery charger, because if you don't have a good battery, you're gonna be disappointed. We'll grab the battery real quick. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and put these on the battery and I'll be right back. Okay, so the way these wiring harnesses work, you have to have the brake pressed in order to get it to fire. But you can actually bypass that. These are gonna hook up to the bottom. There's a little relay on the bottom of I think it's a relay. It's a little switch on the bottom of your brake assembly. Don't know if you can see it from there. Okay, well there's a little relay back there, and these have to be connected to it. Anyways, the way you can get to that, or bypass that, hold these together. You gotta turn your key on too, and this is how we're gonna get it to fire up. So keys on, put these together. This is bypassing the brake. It's like holding the brake, so the wiring harness thinks that the brake is pushed in. And then grab this cable. By the way, battery's already connected. So we know the wiring harness is working good. Now we're gonna check for spark. And the way you check for spark is by putting this on a good grounded location. I typically just set it in here. I'll pull it in closer so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. By the way, this is my first time doing this, so I'm pretty confident to say I understand this whole process now. Oh, by the way, here, I'll show you that if you don't have these pressed in, it's not gonna fire. See? But then when you put these together, it bypasses it. So now I'm gonna check for spark. Oh, I don't have the safety release connected. That's why. gonna connect that real quick and then I'll be right back. Okay, so this is not how I planned on doing this. You have two cords that are coming out of the back. The one with three pins, the male connector, is going to connect to your rear tail light. This one is actually going to connect to your kill switch, but I cut the cord to the connector to the kill switch. So now I have to cut this and manually splice it in, but that's simple enough. Okay, this isn't the spark plug I just had, but anyways, you just plug this into the boot. Make sure it's all the way down, and then get it a good ground on your engine, just by setting it on there, and you'll actually see it spark between the spark plug. Actually, here's a spark plug. But you'll actually see spark between this and this. I don't know if you can really see. Actually, I'm sure you're not gonna be able to see it from that angle. Pretty much bypass this. I have this hooked up now, and you have to have this turned on, and then just hit your go button. Alright, that little putter is enough to let me know that I have, well, by the way, I was just using starter fluid to get that to fire, but that little putter is enough to let me know that I have spark. I have everything I need to get this thing going, and now we're going to disassemble it and put it all into the four-wheeler. Okay, so the only thing I have left to do is a few more zip ties. Everything else, just need to zip tie some of this stuff, make it a little neater, and then put the plastics, the seat and the handlebars back on. But the purpose of this video was just to show you guys how to rewire a Chinese quad, and now it's the moment of truth. Make sure it fires up and works. There you go. Rewiring Chinese quad. Follow these steps. I did everything step by step, so it should be very easy for anybody to follow. These are very simple. Do not be intimidated by them. I'm pretty sure the exact same process works for Chinese pit bikes also. Anyways, as always, like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe. I post a bunch of DIY videos, a bunch of how-to videos, and anything that has an engine on it is probably going to get posted on this channel sooner or later. Oh yeah, and I also do tour reviews. Got a little bit of smoke. Got some gas coming out, baby. Alright, anyways, we're out. A little smoky back there because I probably flooded it.